Now, before we jump into the reading of our story, as found in Matthew 4, where Jesus is led to this wilderness, to this desert, those of you that know the story may remember that it is there in that moment, Jesus is tempted by the devil. So how did the devil come to Jesus? And I wonder when I read those words and I think of this image, what kind of scenery do I actually have in my mind? Do I imagine a devilish figure like something straight out of a painting with horns and forked tail and pitchfork, someone who could easily recognize and identify, oh yeah, that's clearly evil, that's clearly the devil? Is that what I imagine? Did the devil come dressed in a red suit saying, hey, I'm the devil, I'm here to tempt you? Shall we begin? I don't know. But I will say, I don't think that was the case. I don't think so. I don't think that's what happened. The devil, I think, came to Jesus just as he comes to us, disguised. Maybe even as our own thoughts. Maybe disguised as what we think we need, want, desire. Maybe something more in our lives is varnished up, painted up as some good idea to get our own way. So it is the disguise and the nuance of temptations, especially ones that seem like good ideas, that often hold the most power over us. All right, let's dive in and explore this together. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted there by the devil. For 40 days and 40 nights he fasted and became very hungry. During the time, the devil came and said to him, if you are the Son of God, if this is your ministry, if you are the king, tell these stones to become loaves of bread. But Jesus told him, no, the scriptures say people do not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God. In his vulnerability, what Matthew and other gospel writers want us to catch was that this was a double temptation. Not only to satisfy his hunger, but to compromise the very integrity of his mission. What I mean is that what we see here is that first, Jesus is tempted to use his powers selfishly, something that we see in the rest of his journey that he's not willing to do. And secondly, I want to suggest that there's another layer to this temptation based on the context. Jesus, the Messiah, the King, baptized and released into his mission and ministry, is now in the wilderness being tempted to consider how he was going to complete his mission. How is he going to do it? This is the temptation landing on him. And the temptation of good ideas arrives. What method would he use to bring people to God? How would he bring about the renewal of all things? Well, certainly one way to gain followers would have been to meet their immediate needs. You need something? Like magic is there. Are you hungry? How about I fix it? How about I just click my fingers and there's bread? In this temptation, what we need to recognize is the invitation to consider how God's kingdom would be established. Giving in to this temptation, to this good idea, turning stones to bread might have seemed like, yeah, that's the way to do it. People will know. But it would have missed the greater purpose of God's plan. It would have satisfied many people's immediate hunger, what they're experiencing in the moment, but it wouldn't address the deeper issue. So Jesus' response with the truth God had taught his people in the wilderness. His response is a quote from Deuteronomy, from the second law, from the first commandment, from the first testament, sorry. He says, man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God. Jesus is tempted to compromise his mission by focusing on immediate needs, but in doing so, alienating from the deeper, more lasting reality of living with and for God. Let's keep reading. Then the devil took him to the holy city, Jerusalem, to the highest point of the temple and said, if you are the Son of God, jump off. For the scriptures say, he will order his angels to protect you, and they will hold you up with their hands, and so you won't even hurt your foot on a stone. Jesus responded, the scriptures also say, you must not test the Lord your God. Now, in this second temptation, we see the urge to persuade everyone and to eliminate faith, don't we? There's a temptation here to be spectacular, to perform, Be the center of attention. This is the temptation to prove that Jesus is God. But here's the problem with this seemingly good idea. If Jesus had given in, it would have removed the need for faith altogether. And that would be detrimental because, friends, our ability to believe or doubt is what makes us free. Our ability to believe or to doubt is what makes us image bearers of God and not mere robots controlled by God. One of the reasons God not only overcame this temptation, but also invites us to reflect on these good ideas of spectacular proofs that they are a problem, is to reveal the desires in us that have become stronger than our desires for God. Let's continue reading. Next, the devil took him to the peak of a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. I will give it all to you, he said, if you will kneel down and worship me. Get out of here, Satan, Jesus told him. For the scriptures say you must worship the Lord your God and serve him only, or serve only him. Then the devil went away, and angels came and took care of Jesus. Now, this third temptation is the most nuanced and layered one of all. As Jesus reflects on his mission, the temptation to compromise, as it has been in the first temptations, really presents itself a seemingly good idea. The kingdom of God that you're going to announce in just a few more chapters of this story, it's too hard. It's too heavy. Jesus, you're going to tell people to carry their cross? You're going to tell them that faith may lead to death? Are you serious? It's too much. Tone down your demands, the devil suggests. Relax your standards just a little bit. A little wink at evil here, letting some questionable things slide over here, and then people will follow you. It's too hard what you're predicting. Give in to their expectations. Be the king they want. Defeat Rome. Defeat it with the sword. And if you do, you will liberate everyone and you will kill the bad guys. It's a good idea. It's what everybody wants, right? And it's something you want, isn't it? Isn't that what you want, Jesus? Bypass the cross? Seize Caesar's sword? Reach for power and take it? Do what the world has always done. This is the kind of king that they want anyways. So slay the Romans, kill the bad guys, win-win for everybody. But here's the important part that might be helpful for us as we come face to face with this compromise. What we see in this good idea to kill all the bad guys, be the hero, use the world's power, be triumphant, be spectacular, is that acting like the kings of this world, believing that violence can lead to a good end, is nothing less than worshiping the devil. Worship me, he told Jesus. Worship me. Seize power. Take control. That hits hard, hey? It's a temptation because it's tempting. And it's tempting to disagree. We have a million reasons to justify. It is so tempting. It is so tempting to compromise. There are so many good reasons, good ideas to act as the world acts, to make them feel the pain of our friends, of our family, of our neighbors, of our loved ones, make them hurt like they have hurt us. How could that not be tempting? As Brother James Coster, a Canadian-born, Regina-born, in fact, Anglican monk, once said, "The way we are invited to walk is not an easy one. It involves a towel, a basin, and water. It requires us to bend, to stoop, to kneel. It involves a cross and nails, thorns and spear. It requires us to die. It involves tombs and grave clothes. It requires us to lay everything aside, even our own lives. But For those who follow, it is life and peace and joy.